Start. So we are done with a lot of things. We learned that what are the concepts of object-oriented programming and what is the difference between static and non-static. Apart from that, we learned about the concept of constructor and how constructor can be used, right? And we started with a command. We discussed that what it does whenever, say, we fire a Selenium command. Now, there are a lot of other things as well. For example, say how we initialize a browser, how we can configure different browsers. For example, if we want to use Firefox browser or Google Chrome or say Internet Explorer, then how would we be able to work with them, right? Then we will be starting off with interfaces. So here about the basics of drivers. So first thing is let's go to official website of Selenium, that is selenium.dev. And here what we would be doing is we would be actually getting to see things like how would we be able to open up a browser. See, right now you guys are at a situation that you can write a command but the browser is not opening up, right? So what problem you guys are facing, let's just understand that problem now. So here let me just close out both of these classes, these are not required, and here close all tabs. Let's create a new package, right click on source, then new, then here Java class, and here we would be specifying a name. Okay, well first we need a package, so let's just add a package, right click new package, and this is day 3. Remember, we cannot specify spaces inside a package name. This is done. Now here let's create a new class. So what's the class name? The class name would be say introduction. Why am I naming it as introduction? The thing is that we would be say learning about basics of Selenium right now. So here the first thing is we need a main method. So let's just add that. Now it has been added. Now the thing is, remember we wrote a code to open Fire Chrome browser. Chrome driver, say driver equals to, just a second guys. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay, I got a message from someone that he's not able to hear me. Please check your speakers in case you guys are not able to hear me. Okay, so here what we have learned so far is Chrome driver equals to new Chrome driver. Now the thing is that whenever we run this command, if I'm running this command, there are a few things that are happening in the background, right? So what happens is that it actually, just a second, it needs to be commented out. It won't let me execute other things otherwise. So here, let us just run this now. So what happens is that it runs a few things in the background. The constructor initializes few things in the background and it opens up a browser. But in your case, you guys are not able to open up the browser. You guys are getting some kind of a error which tells that the driver executable is not present. Now what is the driver executable? Why do we even need it? Right? So here the thing is that to deal with browser, to deal with any of the browsers that Selenium supports, we need an intermediate file, a file that makes us say makes the interaction possible with the browser and the code. That file is known as WebDriver executable. Question comes up from where we can find it. Now these files are provided by the browser manufacturer, say browser companies only. For example, if a browser is provided by Google Chrome, so Google will be providing that file to you. Now from where we can find the links? So it is easy. On the Selenium download section, if you scroll down and if you keep on scrolling down, you will see something. You will see a section named as browsers. Expand this, and these are the browsers which are officially supported by Selenium. The first one is Firefox, the next one is Internet Explorer, the third one is Safari, Opera, Chrome, and Edge. So these are the browsers which are supported. Now question comes up, which browsers we would be using. See, we would be configuring Internet Explorer, we would be learning about Firefox and Chrome. The configuration for other browsers is almost similar. The way we interact with browsers is completely same. Only the WebDriver executable is different, that needs to be configured, right? So here, right now we are dealing with Google Chrome. Now question comes up which error you would be seeing, because I'm not getting any error. Right now I've got error that is completely different of this issue, the issue you guys are facing. So let me just replicate that thing first. Okay. So here, let me just get to the folder, and here now I would be getting the same error. So here if I run this, I'm not able to open up the browser, and here the error says something like this: illegal state exception. The path to the driver executable must be set by webdriver.chrome.driver system property. Right? What does this mean? So just a second, guys. Someone is facing issues. Okay, so here where we were discussing about Google Chrome, right? So as we are trying to deal with Google Chrome right now, so what we would be doing is we would be going to the documentation here. So let's open this link. Now remember this thing, this link is provided by Google, right? We are not on the domain of Selenium now. We are on Google now, right? So here what we have to do is that we just need to download the Chrome driver. But the question is which web driver we are using, which browser version we are using. We need to cross check that. So on the top right corner of your browser, there is triple dot button. Click here, go to help, and then go to about Google Chrome. Here you would be able to see which version you are using. So we are using 89.0.4392. So here what we need to do is that we just need to download this 89.0, right? So here click on this link. It will be taking you to this screen where you need to choose the option. Now for Linux there is single file, for Macintosh there are two files, as we have a new processor as well. So download the file accordingly. If you are using M1 Mac, then you need to download M1 file. Otherwise you can download the normal file if you're using an Intel Mac, right? Next thing is say Chrome driver for Windows. It is a 32-bit file. There is no specific 64-bit file. So this is the one that we need to download here, and it is being downloaded. Once downloaded, we need to do one thing. We just need to keep it in a folder. Which folder? Let's see that. So here, this is the Chrome driver.exe file. Copy this and extract it in a folder. For example, I have chosen a folder in my system in my A drive, Essentials, here, web drivers, right? I already have a Chrome driver.exe. Let me just delete that because it is very old. So just a second, it won't allow me to delete it. So let's just Chrome driver.exe. One instance is running right now. So let's just close this. Just a second. Yeah. You don't need to do this. Don't worry. Once you restart your system, this will be working absolutely fine for you. Now here, let's just replace the file in the destination, and this is done. Right? Chrome driver.exe is the latest version that we are using now. Now the thing is that remember this path. I have extracted the file, the Google Chrome driver.exe, in a specific folder. Remember this thing, you also need to do the same. Choose a folder. It is not mandatory that you choose the same say pattern, but you just need to have a folder where you would be keeping all your WebDriver files. Now here what needs to be done is we need to get access to that file. Remember this thing, we have this path, right? I just copied the path from here. This is the file path. Now what we need to do is that we need to tell the code that, okay, this is the, say, browser that I'm trying to deal with, and we have the, say, WebDriver sitting at this particular location, right? So to tell the code, what we need to do is that we just need to write a command, system dot set property, and here the property. What is the property? So a hint is already provided to us. If you notice the exception stack trace, this is the exception stack trace. If you read it properly, it is telling us that the path to the driver executable must be set by webdriver.chrome.driver, right? So we just need to write here webdriver.chrome.driver, right? Apart from that, what's next? We need to provide the path. So here, comma, then path, paste that path that you have copied, and here it is done. Now the thing is that if you notice something, the path that we have copied was with single backslashes. But if you notice it here, it has automatically added double backslashes. Now for the people who are using older version of Eclipse or older version of IntelliJ, it may not add up the double backslashes automatically, right? No need to worry. What we have to do is that we just need to replace these slashes, the backslashes, with the single forward slash, right? So that we do not face any kind of issue in the future as well, right? So here it is done. Now with the help of this single line, if you notice something, I will run my code, and here my code is executing and it will be opening up the browser for me. Although we are not doing anything else here, we are just trying to open up the Google browser and it is opened. Let me just close it again. Now here, if I comment out this line, control forward slash, and if I run this code, you will see the same exception that we were getting earlier, right? Illegal state exception. So what happens is that the moment we specify this property, the code asks this Chrome driver.exe file to run, and it asks, enables us to interact with the Google Chrome browser, right? If you notice something, if I'm running it again it will be opening up the browser. Now the thing is that you are able to see something here, something in red in color. This text is not a error. This is just a browser log provided by the WebDriver, right? So this is just a log, nothing else. There is no problem here, right? So here we are done with Google Chrome. Now in the same way, we would be dealing with Firefox and other browsers as well. So let's deal with Google Firefox browser right now. So what we would be doing is we would be, say, trying to open a Firefox as well. So what would be the change here? Let me just comment out these two lines. Now for Firefox browser, the command is a little bit different. Say Firefox driver driver equals to new Firefox driver, right? But if I run it, you would notice something that it is giving me a similar error that we used to see for Google Chrome as well, right? What's the error? Illegal state exception. But there is a difference now. So what's the difference? Now it is asking us to specify webdriver.gecko.driver, right? This means that even if I've written this line and I try to run the code, this will not work for me. Why? Because this driver executable is for Google Chrome browser, right? How would we be able to deal with Firefox browser with that executable, right? It won't work. So what we need to do is that we need to go back to the, say, Selenium website, Selenium downloads, and here what we have to do is we just need to look up for Firefox documentation. Click here and you can see that we have some versions that are provided here. Now the thing is that which Gecko driver we need to use. Question first is, say there are a lot of files, right? 0.26, 27, 28, 29. There are a lot of versions. Now the one we have to download is the latest one, irrespective of the version of Firefox you are using. Why? Because right now They have a minimum support. They don't have any maximum support limit, right? So we can actually deal with it now. So here, what we have to do, we just need to download the Gecko driver releases. Go here and download the latest one. Scroll down a bit, keep on scrolling until or unless you see something like this: Linux 32, Linux 32.gz, Linux 64, Mac OS, Windows 32, and Windows 64. As we have two options here for Windows, I'll go with the one supported with my laptop, right? So here, say Windows 64 is the one that we would be downloading here now. Okay. Now the thing is that it is downloaded, and here let's just open this. So this is the file geckodriver.exe. The same thing we will be doing here. Copy this file, extract it to the same location where you have kept the Google Chrome driver exe. So here essentials and then web drivers, and here paste that file. The older file will be replaced. We can replace it, right? The reason is that why am I going with the latest version? In case if my Firefox has been updated, at least we should stay on the same page, right? So here this is done. Now here what needs to be done? So coming back to the code, remember this thing, they're telling us that we need to set the property webdriver.gecko.driver. So what we'll do is I'll just specify the property system dot set property. The property is webdriver dot gecko dot driver, right? So this is done. Next thing is the path. Now we can borrow the path from here. The only thing different would be the file name, right? So here, what is the file name? Let's go back and check the file name. It is geckodriver.exe. So copy this name and go back and paste this name here. So this is done. Now, as we have specified the property which tells the code that this is the say Firefox WebDriver executable, now we will be able to open a browser from this particular command, right? And you can see that a lot of logs will be provided by Firefox browser, but the browser will be opening up in the end. And you can see that this has opened up, right? Now, what about the third browser, that is Internet Explorer browser? Although it has been deprecated, but still many of the banking organizations or many of the old companies still use it because of the compatibility with the, say, Microsoft framework, right? Now question comes up, how would we be able to deal with Internet Explorer? Now the configuration is same, but it has few other steps involved as well. The reason is that by default, say Internet Explorer does not work with Selenium. So we need to make it work. There are some security settings that we need to pass through. We need to configure those security settings so that we would be able to work with it. Now, what are those settings, and say how would we be able to deal with it? Let's just see that. First thing is we will be going to the official download section of Selenium, where we would be going to the configuration link for this Internet Explorer, right? Now here it is telling us a lot of things here, right? Executable must be downloaded and placed in a path folder, right? So let's just download this executable. So here a lot of files are there, right? It is pretty confusing. So in such a case, in just the case for say Internet Explorer, we won't be going with the conventional method the way we go for other browsers. What we would be doing is we will be scrolling up, and here we will be looking up for a section named as the Internet Explorer driver server. This is the section where we need to go. Now which file we need to download? See, you need to download one of the files say related to your system. So I'm using 64-bit Internet Explorer. I can download this one. I can use this one as well, but for people using 32-bit, they just need to download this 32-bit file only. Let's download the 64-bit. It is downloaded. Now here what we have to do is that we just need to extract this file somewhere. Where? The same location, right? So here essentials, web drivers, and paste this file, replace the file in the destination. So very first step is done. But before we deal with the say browser, before we fire up the code for Internet Explorer, there is something that we need to do. What is that thing? Let us just see that. So here Internet Explorer, let's just open this, and here say go to this button, the tools button. Click here, then just a second, it is just asking us to do something. Click here, then go to Internet options. Once you are onto this screen, what you have to do is that you just need to move to the security tab. On the security tab, move all the bars on all the sections to medium or below that, and uncheck the option enable protected mode. For example, for internet it is disabled, for local intranet it is also disabled, for local trusted sites these are also disabled. And notice something, on all these three sections my protected mode is disabled. In restricted also my protected mode is completely disabled, right? After you have done this setting, you need to say close the browser, and then you can say try dealing with it. Next thing, that is the default zoom level. Click here and make sure that the zoom level is 100%. But there is a problem now. What is the problem? So the problem is there is one more configuration that needs to be done for people using latest version of Windows. And when it comes to latest version of Windows, I'm talking about Windows 10. Even if you have not updated from past 3 years or 4 years, right click here, go to display settings, and make sure that your display zoom level is say set to 100% only. Otherwise your Internet Explorer won't work. So if we have a higher resolution, for example, I have options till 1920 by 1080, I would be able to see a lot of options here: 100%, 125%, 150%, 175%. In case if we have chosen those options, then we won't be able to deal with Internet Explorer. So this is one of the most important settings that you guys need to go through, otherwise you will face a lot of issues. Once you while you're watching the video, you can pause this video, you can go back to the section from where I started off, right? Don't worry, this will work. Now the thing is that once this setting is done, you can fire up the code for opening up Internet Explorer. So let me just comment out this particular line. Now for Internet Explorer, say Internet Explorer driver or driver equals to new Internet Explorer driver. Remember one thing, I have downloaded the driver executable, I have not configured it yet, right? So here we are getting the same exception. Now here the say property is webdriver.ie.driver. This stands helpful in a lot of cases where you are not able to remember what was the property that was needed to be set up, right? So system dot set property. What's the property? Webdriver.ie.driver and the path. So partial path is same, right? The only difference is the file name. So let's just paste that path, and here go back to the folder where we have these files, Internet Explorer driver server. So let's copy this name. I've used the shortcut F2 key. Now here I'll just specify this name here, right? So this is done. Now if I run this code, I would be able to open up the browser, and you can see that Internet Explorer has opened up for me, right? Now the thing is that we are able to open up the browsers with these commands, right? What about dealing with other things? We can open up a website with this as well. How? Let us just see that. So driver dot get, what's the URL? So the URL is say, can we provide something like this google.com? No, we cannot specify like this. What we need to do is that we just need to specify the completely qualified URL. For example, https www.google.com, right? Then only we will be able to open up the browser and then go to that particular website that we want to go. So here, if I run this code, you can see that it will be executing and it will be taking us to the same page, right? This was about Internet Explorer. The same way we can do the same thing on other browsers as well. So let me just keep all the configuration files, configuration code here. Now I'll uncomment Google Chrome and I'll comment out, say, Internet Explorer driver. Right. Now here, if I run this code, you will notice something. I did not even change the last line and it has opened Google, say google.com for me. I did not make any change here in line number 15. Now here, I'll comment out Google Chrome and I'll uncomment Firefox. Let's run this command. Now here, if you notice something, Firefox is opening up and here it will be taking us to google.com. Right. Now guys, just give me a moment. I'll be back in a moment. Just a second, guys. Okay. Now we are able to achieve this thing. Now what about we want to open up the browser dynamically, right? So here, let us just do one thing. Let's create a new class and say dynamic browsers, right? So here in dynamic browsers, what we would be doing is I would be borrowing up the code. I would borrow these three lines as it is. And after that, just a second, not here. We need to have main method first. Now here, okay, this is done. Now let's have a if condition. If say browser,
Abhishek, one question.
yeah,
In the last statement that you executed, google.com, it opened in the driver that is current. So that means we can only have one browser statement per program, or it picks up the latest browser statement, browser driver. Even though I can have Chrome, Internet Explorer, Firefox in this case, it only picks up the latest one, or we should only have one browser driver. What is true among the both?
okay. Notice one thing. This is the variable name, right? We initialized Firefox driver with this variable name, right? So
Right.
the object
Got it.
got created here, right? And that was allocated to driver. Now driver is firing up the command get. Get is a method specified in Firefox driver class. Okay. The same method is existing in Google Chrome and Internet Explorer as well. But the thing is that this method is being called up from this object, which is this object actually, right? So the object we are dealing with, that only object has opened up a browser, right? So we
Understood.
would be
Yeah.
open up, we would be able to deal with that particular browser only. For example, if you notice something, a Google Chrome is already open here, right? Now what I'll do is I'll uncomment this part and I'll comment out the Firefox part. This Google Chrome will be, this part of code will be opening up a fresh instance of Google Chrome now, right? So here, if I run this code, you would notice something. Let me just show you. There is only one Google Chrome here, right? So here, if I run my code, you would notice something. Another Google Chrome will show up. Just a second. Did I make any mistake here? Oh, let me just run this code introduction, right? You can see that the browser will be opening up now, but this is a separate window. So whenever the code opens up a window, it does not look up for the older open windows. It will deal with that particular window only which the code has opened up. Now the code execution has stopped. If I run my code once again, another window will open up. I can see that Chrome instance 1, Chrome instance 2 and Chrome instance 3. There are three different instances of Google Chrome running right now, right? So this is how it deals with it. It doesn't matter, say, which object we are dealing with. The thing that matters is the object we are dealing with has opened up a browser. We will be able to deal with that particular browser instance only. Even if we have initialized Google Chrome 20 times and we are using the second, say, line, right? For example, say something like, just a second. For example, let's just consider an example. We have different names here, driver 1, 2, 3, 4. And here I just want to deal with driver 2. So even if there are four different browsers open, the actions will be provided to driver 2 only, right? This one only. If I choose driver 3, then the actions will be executed on this one only. Other browser instances won't be receiving the actions, right? Whenever we write the command driver dot say do something, what happens is that we are actually providing that command to the, say, the method, and that method is directly dealing with the browser itself, right? Now here, let me just remove the unnecessary lines of code. This is not required. Let's go back. Now the thing is that suppose we want to choose a browser name. Suppose we have three different browsers and I want to open up the browser dynamically and then execute the same scenario everywhere. So here, if my browser name is, say, dot, just a second, yeah, if it is equals to, so equals to, so browser name does not exist right now. So here first thing is string browser name, right, equals to, what's the browser name? So I want to go with Chrome right now. So this is done. Now if browser name dot equals to Firefox, right, then what should happen? If it is equals to Firefox, then in that case Firefox driver equals to new Firefox driver, right? Then driver dot get. Let's do one thing. Let's get to three different websites. HTTPS www.google.com. Then say driver dot get will go to HTTPS www.facebook.com, and then say netflix.com, right? So we are going into three different websites. Now this part of code is for Firefox only. In the same way we will have for, say, other browsers. Say browser name dot equals, say, internet, or let's just name it as IE. So if it is IE, then what needs to be done? Then here what we have to do is that we just need to open up the browser, say like this, Internet Explorer driver equals to new Internet Explorer driver. This is done. Now here, after that, what needs to be done is, say, we need to specify these commands. So we already have these commands ready. Done. Say else if, so here again we have else if, say browser name dot equals, say it should be equals to Chrome, right? Let me just specify fs small here as well. So let's go with this. Now here, if it is Chrome, then Chrome driver equals to new Chrome driver. Next thing, these three commands which are exactly same, so I'll just specify them here directly. And here now it is done. Now the thing is that as we are choosing Chrome here right now, so it will be opening up the browser accordingly, right? So introduction.java is getting executed. We need to stop the execution. Control Shift F10 is a shortcut key to execute the code. So here you can see that all the three websites have opened up, and in the ending we are into netflix.com. Let's close this. Now I'll change the browser from say Chrome to Firefox, and let's run this code once again. Control Shift F10. It will execute the current open file. And is it executing? No, it is not. Let's just execute it once again. So here you can see that we are taken to facebook.com, and now we are taken to Netflix as well, right? So here the thing is that we are actually able to say see the things that say how we are able to open up the browser, right? But if you notice something, there are repeated lines of code. Actually, we can omit 6 lines of code by doing something here. But question is, how would we be able to do that? Now, for that, let's do one thing. Let's learn about the concept of interfaces, right? So what are interfaces and how would we be able to deal with them? Now, the thing is that if you remember something in the last lecture, what we were doing was we were trying to create objects, right? And we were creating variables as well, right? So here the thing is that we were writing something like this, say the class name, say Chrome driver equals to new Chrome driver. Now this works well whenever we have only one browser or we want to deal with only one class. When it comes to dynamics, we won't be able to deal with them, right? Now here, let's do one thing. Let's have a scenario. So say Epic Pen, right? And just a second, let this Epic Pen open. So is it open? Okay, it has opened up here. Let's deal with it here only then. Where did it go? Just a second, guys. So here, the thing is that suppose you have similar things that you have to do, right? For example, we know that Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, and Firefox both, sorry, all these three browsers have a same command. What command? Say get, say get method, right? Where we are specifying the URL, right? So here also we have the get method, say URL, and here as well, right? Now, how is it possible? What is being done here actually? So let's consider a scenario for the phone. So here, let's have a class, say phone class, right? A class or something else. Let's have an interface, right? What is interface? Interface is something that provides the, say, that sets up the protocol for the implementing classes. This means that if we have set up something in interface, that particular thing has to be implemented by the implementing classes. For example, there is an interface phone, right, which has some stuff here. For example, which has some methods here. What methods? We have some methods, for example, call. We we use our phone to make calls, right? So here, what if we have a method void call, right? So here, the thing is that we can have this method. Apart from that, we would want to send SMS as well. So let's just have two functionalities, right? Now there is an interface phone, right, which has two methods, call and SMS. We do not have any, say, detailed information about these two methods. We just have these two methods here. Now what I'll do is I'll create another class, and this would be class now. It won't be interface, it will be a class. What will be the name? Say Apple phone, right? Now what Apple phone does is it implements, say, phone, right? The moment I choose this line, the moment I do this line, you can see that it gives me error. I need to implement the methods. So here select all the methods, click on OK, and you can see that there are two methods that have been created, call and SMS. Now here we can specify our own custom code. As we are using Apple phone, what if we write something like this, that is system.out.println, and here I specify like this, call using, say, Apple phone, right? And in the same way, we can write something like this, that is SMS using Apple phone, right? So here SMS using Apple phone, right? Now here let's have a class, another class, and I'll name this as, say, test phone. Now in test phone, what we would be doing is we would be having main method. Till now, in both of the classes, phone and Apple phone, we do not have any of the methods like this. Now here in test phone, what we would be doing is I would be initializing Apple phone. So say Apple phone equals to new Apple phone. Now I would be able to deal with the methods, right? So say Apple phone dot call and SMS. So here Apple phone dot SMS. Now here it is done. Now if I run my code, what would happen? So if you notice something here, the code is executing, and the older code is executing. Just a second, let's just stop this. This is the problem with IntelliJ. Control Shift F10 is the shortcut that we need to use to run the code. You can see that call using Apple phone and SMS using Apple phone, right? So this is what we wanted to see, and this is what we are able to see as well, right? Now, as we have an interface which is telling that it is setting up a protocol that any implementing class should have these two methods. This means that we can create other class as well. So let's create another class. Say one plus phone. Now here it also implements phone. The moment I do this, I need to add up two methods, that is call and SMS, and I can have my own custom code here. So S out. What's the code? The custom code? The custom code is something like this. Say call. Let us just copy paste this from here. Call using Apple phone. We will be renaming it to call using, say, OnePlus phone. So call using OnePlus phone. And in the same way, I would be having a line here that SMS using, say, OnePlus phone. Right? Now to deal with OnePlus phone, what we need to do? We need to create object. So here, OnePlus phone, say phone or OnePlus phone equals to new OnePlus phone. That is done. I can simply call up the methods, say OnePlus phone dot call and OnePlus phone dot SMS. Now here, if I run this code, you would see two outputs. One is call using Apple phone, and next one should be, say call using OnePlus phone, right? Now the thing is that as we have created the interface, can we initialize the object? Let's try that. So phone equals to new phone. But the thing is that the moment I specify this, you can see that it is asking me to initialize the methods, which is not possible. But the thing is that here, whenever we are dealing with the object type of interface, right? Object reference type of interface, we can allocate the object of the implementing class. For example, Apple phone. Now here, if I write something like this, say phone dot call and phone dot SMS, right? So if we do this thing, then what would happen? If I run this code, you would notice that it is printing call using Apple phone and call SMS using Apple phone. How is it even possible? So this has been made possible with the help of interfaces, right? So interfaces acted here, and what they did was it allowed us to have the object created by the say implementing class and allocate it to the say interfaces reference variable. Now here the next thing is, can we allocate it another object? For example, what if I want to try with OnePlus phone? So if you notice something, am I actually able to deal with it as well? Now here you can see that with the help of just one change, I'm able to deal the code written in the OnePlus phone class, right? So this is how we would be able to deal with it. Now the thing is, can we play around with these methods? Let's have another class as well. Say, let's have a new class. This is Nokia phone. And here, this also implements phone. This means that we need to add unimplemented methods, both call and SMS. So say call using Nokia phone. And in the same way, we would be having SMS using Nokia phone. Right. Now, if I initialize this, you can see that if I write Nokia phone, I'm able to call up the methods. But there is something, there is a trick. The thing is that what if Nokia phone has a special functionality? Public void say open maps, right? So here we have here maps. Now the thing is that here maps is a say product provided by Nokia maps only. So Nokia only. This is not something that is available in Apple phone or say in the OnePlus phone, right? So here, if I print out something like this, say here maps, right? Now, even if I specify this and I go to test phone and I try running a command, phone dot, notice something, it is not even suggesting me that maps command, right? So here maps, I'm not able to do that. But the moment I change the object reference from say phone to Nokia phone, you notice something, I'm able to open up here maps, right? If I change it to phone back again, you can see that we have an issue here. Now what is this? The thing is that whenever we are using the object reference of an interface, we can actually call up the methods say specified by that interface only. This means that any proprietary method cannot be called up. Any customized method which is say limited to that particular class only, for example, the implementing class only, we won't be able to call up that method from the interface's object reference, right? So this means that I can only call up the methods which are specified by the interface itself. Now, you guys may have a question in your mind, why this call and SMS? The thing is that we have different providers, right? We have different manufacturers for the phones. Now, what if every company provides their own specific set of features, right? Then what is the meaning of having a phone if we are not able to communicate from Apple to Samsung or Samsung to OnePlus or Apple to OnePlus, OnePlus to Apple, right? We need some standard, we need some protocol that needs to be laid out so that every company implements that thing on their own flavor, right? I'm not saying that every phone is same. I'm not even saying that the hardware inside is same, but there is a protocol that has been set up that if a phone needs to qualify, these are the things that need to be provided, right? So here this means that this phone interface is specifying that I need two methods, call and SMS, and you need to be, say, calling these methods only, right? You won't be able to deal with other methods apart from the methods specified by the interface itself, right? Now here it is done. Now the next thing is that what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to practice something for dynamic browsers. That is, say, how would we be able to open up different browsers with the help of only single line of code, right? How would we be able to dynamically choose the browsers without wasting these lines of code, right? Now the thing is that if we go to the documentation of Selenium, let's go to selenium.dev, scroll down a bit, go to downloads, then scroll down a bit, look up for API docs, right? For Java, as we are using Java. Now here, if we go to all classes, this is the list of all the classes. And if I scroll down to the bottom and I look up for a class named as, say, web driver, right? So web audio, web driver decorator, and here, where is web driver? This is web driver. Wait, just a second, guys. Control F. Web driver. Where is web driver itself? So just a second. Well, I don't know what is the problem with the documentation here. Let's go to all classes once again. Let's look up for WebDriver. Okay, I'm not able to see this. Just a second. Let me just do one thing. Let's grab the documentation from somewhere else. So Selenium 3.141.59 Java doc. So here from javadoc.io, I can extract the, say, stable Java doc, and I just hope so that we have the working Java doc here, right? And yeah, we have a working Java doc. I can see that here we have an interface WebDriver. What all implementing classes are there? There are a lot of implementing classes for WebDriver, right? And say Google Chrome, then Firefox driver, and a lot of other classes are implementing it. The list is not provided here, but it is usually provided. Let me just do one thing. Let's go back and analyze the pattern. API Java. just let's just go with this. Okay, you can go with this particular document as well. Now here it has some implementing classes. Google Chrome is one of them. Firefox driver is also one of them. Internet Explorer is also one of them, and there are lot of other classes as well, which are one of the implementing classes. This means that if I write something like this, that is, say, let me just comment out this if conditions part. What if I write something like this, that is WebDriver, say driver equals to new Chrome driver. Now, if I specify this, you can see that the Chrome driver will be opening up, right? And here we will be able to deal with Google Chrome, right? So here you can see that dynamic browser is not executing. Just a second, let me just execute dynamic browsers. So here you can see that Google Chrome has opened up. This means that here we have the browser which has been opened up by the object reference of interface, right? I want you guys to practice something. I want you guys to remove the excess lines of code and open up the browsers with lesser lines of code, right? We have approximately 33 lines of code, right? I want this to be decreased by at least 6 lines of code, right? So here this is done. Now what's next? Let's just go back to the syllabus. What all is done and what all is left? So here, this is our syllabus. We are done with interfaces. What is the need of an interface and what is the concept of an interface? Apart from that, we are done with the use of interfaces in Selenium. Next thing is, say, exception handling. So we will be dealing with this in the next lecture. This was for today's lecture. If you have any queries, you can feel free to ask.
Yeah, Abhishek, I have one query. As per my knowledge, interface we cannot create a object for an interface or abstract class, both.
Right.
But when you are in the during the exercise, you just created an object, and after that, the IDE prompt you to insert all the method.
Right. See, notice something. WebDriver is an interface, right? Or phone is an interface, right? But the object is not a say created of that interface. We are creating object of the implementing class. We can do that,
No, if I write here phone equal to new phone,
right?
so here it is not allowed in Java.
It is not allowed in Java. That is why it is asking you to initialize all the methods. It is asking you to provide code for the call method and the SMS method as well.
So basically, it is matlab we can create object of interface by allowing the methods.
Yeah, by putting up the methods, but that is of no use. Why would you like to write the code here, right? Because while initializing only that you need to specify all those things, and you cannot reuse the same code, right? So although it is available to you, although it is a say thing that you can do that, but the thing is it is not suggested because you will be writing a lots and lots of lines of code every time. The basic goal of using an interface is that we do not want to waste excess lines of code. We want a interoperability. For example, if I'm able to deal with Google Chrome browser, why won't be I why shouldn't I be able to deal with Internet Explorer driver with almost similar commands? Otherwise, I have to expand my learning curve. I need to learn about Internet Explorer. I need to learn about Google Chrome. I need to learn about Firefox. In such a case, I'm not able to, I don't have to do that. Listen one thing, notice one thing. Here we have an interface phone. We specified these two methods that one should be able to call and one should be able to SMS. Right? Now I just remember two things, call and SMS. Irrespective of the implementing classes object, I'm able to call these methods, call and SMS. call and SMS, right? So if I change the object here, instead of Nokia maps, if I go with OnePlus phone, and if I run this class, right, you would notice that, say, it will be executing OnePlus phone's method, right? If I change it from OnePlus phone to Apple phone, and if I run this code, you can see that it will be printing Apple phone now. So I don't have to expand my learning curve. I don't have to remember that what commands I need to fire in OnePlus and what commands I need to fire in Apple, right? I can simply initialize the object and I can make use of the things the way we want them to be, right?
But Abhishek, if we want to print four lines, like call using Apple, SMS using Apple, and then as a call using OnePlus, SMS, then again we have to write the same code. So the lines are not reduced here, I think,
See,
because
that
here
is a
if you
separate thing. But what if you want the dynamic code? You want to use the phone dynamically. For example, at one point you just want to use Apple phone, but for some other user you want to use Nokia phone or Samsung phone or OnePlus phone. In that case, you cannot write the repeated lines of code, right?
okay.
Suppose, let's just see that if, let me just have a variable first, string, say desired phone, right, equals to, say, it is Apple phone, right? Here, now, what if we have a conditional statement like this? Desired phone dot equals, what it should be equals to, say, Apple phone, right? If it is equals to Apple phone, then it should be something like this, say phone. Let me just comment out this particular part of code. This is not required. Now here it should be phone equals to new Apple phone. But else if, right, it is not Apple phone, it is, say, OnePlus phone. Then what needs to be done here? Plus phone, right? Else if it is, say, Nokia phone. Now here it should be new Nokia phone. The thing is that here, after initializing the phone, according to my requirement, what we can do is we can simply call up the method phone.call and phone.sms. Now here, if I run my code, you would notice something that, okay, it is giving me a problem. It is not initialized. So we need to initialize that equals to, say, null. We need to initialize it with null. So here, now if I run my code, the thing is that I would be able to, say, see this thing. Call using SMS, say calling using say Apple phone and SMS using Apple phone. Now if I change my phone from Apple phone to Nokia phone, just a condition change, right? So now the phone is being initialized on the fly. Did I make any other change? I can get this Nokia phone data read from somewhere else. Then by default, it will be choosing up the desired phone automatically. We don't have to look up for it, right? So here, this means that we are having the dynamics. If I choose OnePlus phone, then the code for OnePlus phone would be executed only. It is just coming up here and it is checking up whether we have the, say, desired phone or not. Okay, so this is how we would be able to do that. I want you guys to practice dynamic browsers so that you guys are able to understand that how the thing is going on. Remember one thing, this is the same lines of code but for the, say, browser now, right? So you guys have already got a hint that what needs to be done. how it needs to be done, and what part of code you need to write. Right? You guys already have the idea. Just try implementing this. Okay. Any other queries?
Abhishek, is it possible to send the video probably today, maybe in next 3 hours, 4 hours, not before tomorrow's class? मतलब
Uh,
practice करने के लिए it'll be easy.
yeah, we'll surely try that.
Okay.
Yeah. The problem with these videos, because these need to be processed before getting uploaded to YouTube. Once you're a paid member, you will be getting access to the videos within 1 hour of the lecture.
मैंने पे तो कर दिया मैंने 2 दिन हो गए.
So it's like once the free videos are over for everyone, because those videos won't be uploaded to YouTube. Those will be uploaded to the uploaded to our own servers.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
I said one more thing. The abstract class will be useful in Selenium, or only interface will be used here?
We will be using interfaces here.
Okay. So normally abstract class we don't use in Selenium.
No, we won't be using them. See, whatever we need in Selenium, we say what level of Java we need in Selenium, we have already learned that today. Apart from
Okay.
that, we would be using some of the concepts of Java, and whenever we would be say requiring them, we will be say learning about them at before that particular part.
Got
Okay.
it. Got it. Clear.
So Java part is completed today. We won't be learning Java anymore now. We would be dealing with Selenium from the next lecture. Wholly solely from Selenium. Anything Selenium requires us to learn from Java, that part on that only part we would be learning then. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. This way you guys will be able to understand more clearly what is required and how it is required. Otherwise, what happens is that if I teach you Java for the first 5 6 days and then I start off with Selenium, you guys won't be able to relate things. Any other queries, guys?
Is GitHub and Jenkins also part of the course? I'm just asking. I'm
Yeah,
not
it is
gone
part
through
of the
the.
course. We will be learning that when we will be dealing with framework.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, guys. So see you in the next lecture.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.